Another former Vikings player speaks out about former head coach Mike Zimmer. Yo, welcome back to vikezvibez. This is DJ as always. How's it going? Like I said, another former Vikings player speaks out about Mike Zimmer. So after Mike Zimmer was fired with former general manager Rick Spielman, we heard numerous people, including guys who played for him, how it wasn't a good culture and it was just a bad situation with him at the helm. Um, Eric Kendricks is the one who I remember speaking out the most. Really calling him out, saying the culture just was not good at all, and it was just a bad situation. Um, it just a lot of negativity. So well now we hear from the 2012 league MVP and one of the greatest Vikings ever, former running back Adrian Peterson. He was recently on a podcast called Courtside Club Podcast, and he spoke about a moment in his last season in Minnesota that basically made him not want to return, and he ended up signing with another team the following season. And I'm going to show my screen here, and I'll show you the video that is him talking about that moment. So.
I tore 90% of my meniscus at a home game the first year we played in the new stadium in
Let me
Minnesota.
start it over.
And one time that I felt disrespected and felt like a coach was challenging me. And this was right before I left Minnesota. I tore my meniscus. I tore 90% of my meniscus at a home game the first year we played in the new stadium in Minnesota. And they pretty much was like, well, the season is over, because I think it was like week 3 or 4. And I was like, no, just put me on just the injured reserve, and I feel like I can come back and we have a chance, make it to the playoffs. So long story short, the odds again, I overcame the odds, and I was able to come back, and we were playing, I think we played the Colts. That's what we played. And we needed to win out. Like we had like .some% chance, but any chance, that's the mentality I have. You know what? I'm right with it. And we ended up losing that game. I came back out there, and and I played decent. Didn't really play too well. Had been a while, and then that pretty much eliminated us from the the playoff intentions. And the next week, coach wanted me to play again. I was like, Coach, I just came back from tearing. I just came back. It's my first game. We have no chance to make the playoffs. Why would I get out there and risk hurting myself? Yeah. And it was that 16? Yeah, 15, 16. And my contract was up too, So I could have easily been like, I'm going to shut it down and just, whatever, recover. That's not my mentality. Yeah. And then, he challenged me. He was like, well, I feel like if you was able to play last week, then you're able to come out and play now. And it's like, I would do that if we really had a chance to make it to the playoffs, but we don't. And I'm not going to go out here and, risk hurting myself for a pointless game, you know? And he was like, well, I just rather you had not played, the last game and this, that, and another. And that's the first time a coach has really just rubbed me wrong with challenging me when it comes to what I've been doing since I was 7, playing, the game that I love. And that's what rubbed me so wrong, because here I am, the face of the franchise.
Right.
I done scratched back when your staff and your professionals have told you that, you know what, he's not going to be able to make it back in time, and y'all should just sit him. I scratched back because that's the love I have for the game.
Yeah.
And you're going to disrespect me like that? Like, I was through with him after that. I was like, man, all right, man, whatever.
So that was the one that stood out to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that one right there. I never felt that.
And that was your last season there. Yeah.
My last season there. Yeah.
All right. There it is. It's crazy that it took that long for Peterson to reach out and speak about that. But it's just messed up that Zimmer challenged him to play, and then the following week Peterson said or Zimmer said that he'd rather have him not play that week, after Peterson said he didn't want to risk injury for a pointless game that they were already out of the playoffs. So it's like, what the hell? Like, you challenged him to play in that Colts game, and then we lose that game, we're out of the playoffs, and now you flip it back on him and saying that you would rather not have him played in that Colts game. Like, what? You're the one that challenged him to play in that game. Like, what? Seriously, dude? What the hell? Like, it honestly doesn't surprise me because of how Zimmer was spoke about after his exit. It just makes you wonder what other stories are out there and how much worse it actually could have been or possibly was for players during that time when Zimmer was the coach. Maybe we'll hear more as time goes on. I really wouldn't be shocked at all. But this was just really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you guys in case you haven't seen it. So yeah. Go subscribe to the channel vikezvibez on YouTube. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers before the NFL draft in about 3 weeks. And we're almost there. We're currently, right now, we're at about 61. So we're 39 short of the goal. Go subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.